it all comes back to the same home ground. You know what I mean? Like with a play, with a musical, you get a script, you better read that bad boy. You better read that bad boy. There's no music out? All right, let's see who the composers are. Listen to how they write music. Listen to how they compose music for that sound. So that way, when you go into the room and they ask you for a song from your book, you know how to choose material that's going to allow them to know, oh, okay, she, they're for the vision. I can definitely see myself working and directing this beautiful artist in front of me. TV and film. You got to be prepared before you go on that set.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Hassiem Muhammad, and you are listening to The Actor's Instrument, Tools for the Long Game. Before we go any further, folks, please do me a favor, like this episode, give us a follow or a subscribe wherever you're tuning in. Now, currently trending and with a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, Dexter Resurrection is one of the hottest shows of the summer. This spinoff of the original Dexter series, which premiered 20 years ago, takes place in New York City, giving a whole new face to the franchise. And joining me this week on The Actor's Instrument is one of the recurring stars from the show. Darius Jordan Lee, a native of Newark, New Jersey, plays Lance Thomas in Dexter. Some of Darius's credits include the Broadway production of Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, The Last OG, Power Book 2, and Hulu's new series, Will Trent. Darius, thank you so much for joining me, brother.
It's so good to be here with you, bro. It's a pleasure, a blessing, seriously.
Absolutely. Man, I was checking out Dexter because my boy Jack Alcott.
Love Jack.
Yeah. We went to school together.
Oh wow, in North Carolina.
Yeah, no, that's my boy. We collaborated on a lot of stuff during school. Great guy, incredible guy.
Wow, brother. Wow. That's so cool.
So yeah, I was watching the show because of course I was like, I got to support my guy. And then next thing you know, you popped up. I said, I know Darius was in.
Brother, yeah.
That was a pleasant surprise. And it was just super exciting. And man, I'm proud of you.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. I mean, proud of you is an understatement. Always proud of you. And it was such an incredible experience. I mean, definitely a huge step in my career as an actor, especially on the TV screen. And I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful for that blessing. It happened right before the love of my life and I's wedding as well. There was just a lot of great things leading into this new year that I was just so thankful for. And yeah, it was a hell of a ride, man. I love roller coasters, so it's actually one of them.
Okay, well, we're gonna get into it. And, this month I've kind of got a little trend going. It's all about the breakout. Like people who are breaking out, and I don't know if that's what it feels like to you, but as somebody who's, I've known you for a few years and been watching you, it feels like this year is really like a breakout of sorts for your career.
Thank you, brother.
Now, before we dive into Dexter, the question I ask everybody, and I wanna start asking this question sooner in the show, is what's the defining quality that you bring to the table as a storyteller?
You're enough. You are enough. Something that I wish I told 18-year-old Darius years ago, especially when an opportunity is presented to you. It's presented to you for a reason. The universe is on our side, whether we believe it or not. And it's up to us at the end of the day to always know, no matter what it is that is in front of us, we can handle it. And just to remember and say these words that I am enough. Because it's gonna take you a long way in terms of an extensive career in this beast that we all love and adore so much.
That is so important, that having that belief in yourself. I've spoken with a few other folks on the show and some different casting directors, and they've mentioned confidence as a piece of the equation that is often understated, and I imagine that what they perceive as confidence is a bit of that conversation with oneself of saying, I am enough. I can do this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And speaking of which, speaking of knowing that you're enough, can you walk us through your process of booking Dexter Resurrection? 'Cause I have a feeling that, you know, reminding yourself that you're enough was a part of that process.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's it's still a weird and fragile time for us all as artists. I mean, considering after the pandemic and then trying to navigate our journeys as artists and actors and storytellers within it. And then fast forwarding to the writers and actor strike. Um, for me, I was just still going on Actors Access, going on equity.com to see what's out there, just to like stay active, even though I know that my reps are advocating for me to their fullest extent. I still have to advocate for myself and make sure that I'm not lazy in the sense of hustle, in the sense of grind. And last year, it was very quiet for your brother. I mean, yes, I had auditions, um, got good feedback, but weren't getting any bites, which is a part of the process, as we all know. And just to like give like a little context, so going from being on Broadway and Ain't Too Proud on Broadway, man. In 2022, when it closed, um, it was like, dang, what's next, right? Um, so I got into modeling a little bit because of my wife, um, and thankfully, modeling. I know it's not storytelling, but at least you can still be in your artistic self um, during a job like that. And I would still be auditioning. I was taking some acting courses, and then I started to get more momentum in terms of meeting different casting directors for TV and film um, because of my reps. Thank God. Um, and then the strike happens. It was it, it was crazy because I had booked a small pilot, a small indie pilot, and in the midst of shooting it, we all had to shut down because of the writer strike and actor strike. And so, like we're dealing with that, all of us. Everybody's dealing with this, and after that, it was just quiet leading into 2024, and then coming into the fall, um, more auditions started to pick up. Like 2023, it was quiet because of the strike, but then going leading into fall of last year, that's where things started to pick up, and I would see auditions for co-stars. I'm like, listen, yeah, I will take it. I will take anything. You know what I mean? I don't take anything for granted. And I saw the audition for Dexter come in around fall of last year for the role of Lance Thomas. And I knew how big the show was. And usually when um, you get an audition, I always look at who's involved. I'm looking at the directors, the writers. I like to see other projects that they've done so that I can get a sense of how they approach work. And anytime if I even if I know a show, like of course I knew what Dexter was. It was so huge as we were growing up, so huge, and I just never had the chance to watch it because my mother and I didn't have Showtime at the time. Um, so I would watch one episode. Next thing you know, it led to me watching the whole first season within 2 days because I just got hooked. Um, just to get the language, you know what I mean? So that way, when I taped with my wife, it was just second nature for me. Um, and this was around October of last year. Around the same time as when I got the really cool opportunity to tape for Will Trent for the guest star on Will Trent. Um, and right before Thanksgiving, the offers for both of those jobs came through. And in terms of my preparation, it's the same thing. Like with Will Trent, I never watched Will Trent. I didn't even hear of it. I mean, I saw like an advertisement for it and it slipped my mind. I was like, oh, I forgot that was a TV show. And I started watching it and I got hooked on that as well because it's just both shows are just so it's just so beautiful in terms of its ensemble, in terms of all the colors that they're able to illuminate on screen. Um, and I was so grateful for those experiences. Well, I know we're going to dive into that, but just like those opportunities presenting itself alone because of how scarce it's been. um, labor wise. Um, so right, going into right after Thanksgiving, I had shot Will Trent, and then we were handling all the paperwork and stuff for Dexter literally while I was on set in Georgia for Will Trent. And then going into the new year, that's when I got to meet the bro Jack and all the amazing creators on Dexter. And it was just like, yeah, this is what you've been praying for. This is what you've been manifesting. This is what you've been putting forward. You earned this. You know what I mean? You earned this. And and when you walk onto the set, know that they're rooting for you as well. Um, like I learned to like not apologize. Like let's say like if I flub a line like during a take, they'll immediately say, Darius, great job. Let's do this. Let's in terms of just like tightening things up before we attack it again, because you're offered at least a few or multiple takes in between shots. And man, it's been a heck of a journey knowledge wise, especially from watching Jack. I mean, what a force on set, and he makes it look easy. And the thing is that everybody, I mean, just from meeting Michael C. Hall and Uma Thurman, like everybody's just themselves. Everybody is here because we have the passion for it. We have the love for it. And that way, like he, our big brother, Spike Lee would say, it shouldn't feel like work. You know what I mean? So I've been living in that pool of just joy, um, joy and just acceptance of this is your art that has been asked to be shared with the world. And that's huge because there's only one of us each. You know what I mean? And nobody else can share what we can share at the end of the day.
Man, okay, there's a couple things I'd love to unpack. Do you remember your first like professional gig, your first credited job? On IMDb, it has your first credit as 2014. Does that sound accurate around that time?
Oh, wait, yes, this was one of my friends from school, one of her short films. Oh my gosh, what's the name of the film? What's the name of the film?
Oh, I didn't
Around.
yeah.
Um, I think it's called, oh yeah, Rolling. It's called Rolling.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Rolling. Yeah.
So you were in school then.
Mm-hmm.
What year did you graduate?
2016.
2016. Okay, so
Mm-hmm. And
you're out word. So you're out 9 years now. I'm just trying to track because right? Because this show, right? Tools for the long game. I just want to like highlight for the folks listening. You graduated 2016, and what again appearing to me as like your breakout year is not 9 years later. I mean, you had Ain't Too Proud on Broadway, which is another version of a breakout, and I feel like in one's career we can have many of those moments.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I think about the scale that is television,
Mm-hmm.
and not just television, but a recurring role on one of the biggest shows of the year. I saw the pictures, you were at the premiere, you know what I'm saying? Like on the red carpet, like that's kind of another level in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It was surreal, man. It was a surreal moment to just be recognized and be thanked for the work that we all um were able to achieve in doing together. Yeah, it was definitely a celebration for sure that I will never forget. Never.
It looks like you guys are having fun. And the show is great. The show's great.
Yeah, man. It's a crew too. The crew for Dexter and for Will Trent. I mean, and this as an actor and an artist that sometimes you don't always have a group that has a good rapport with one another, and this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this wasn't the case at all. Everybody was so warm, so loving, so down to earth, and just like for the vision, like with one moment we're chopping it up, we're talking, connecting, getting to know one another, and the next thing you know, boom, back on set. You know what I mean? It was very therapeutic in the sense like, okay, like even though I know we're being blessed to be compensated to play, to do this thing that we love to call play. Um, it's still a collective experience that I'm, very thankful for.
Man, you're one of the most grateful artists I know. You're full of gratitude, and
So are you, Bubby. So are you, man.
I try to be. You gave a shout out and some gratitude to your reps a few minutes ago.
Mhm,
Now, again, because I know you had a different manager,
mhm.
at one point, and now you're with you have some different folks on your team. It's a bit of a personal question, but I try to keep it real on the show. So if you're open to speaking about it, could you speak about what caused that shift in your team of representation?
Of course. So coming out of school, I had an agent um, for up until like from 2016 up until um, 2021, who I'm very grateful for. Got me into rooms that I never thought I would get into. Got to build momentum in terms of relationships with different casting directors and XYZ. Um, and then I tagged on a manager for the first time, and the manager at the time, it was like they can hear what I was putting out into the universe in terms of wanting to get seen for more TV and film. What do I need to do in order to make this happen? Um, and the other party alone was just they just weren't parallel with what I was trying to achieve. You know what I mean? So took that leap of faith and just left with the manager, and he introduced me to my agents now, who I am over the moon grateful for. They're really beautiful and incredible and extraordinary group of people, and they advocate for everybody like no other. Literally, once we partnered together in 2021, I had booked another guest star on The Last OG to be opposite of Tracy Morgan, which was really cool. And it was just like, damn, on the first, excuse my French, but like, dang, on the first week of auditions, this man was able to get a pen and some like great feedback for casting directors, yet alone uh, uh, an offer. So we built a great relationship early on, thank God. Um, and then fast forward, the manager and I just drifted away, separated in terms of views. I'm always going to be grateful for that management. I'm always grateful for everybody, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I can't imagine what they go through in terms of the labor with phone calls, emails, constantly reaching out to folks on our behalf. I get it. It's just as hard as what we do when we get ourselves prepped and ready to tell another story. Um, and then my agents today introduced me to another management where in 2022, where we got more volume in terms of getting into more different rooms for TV and film, which was it was definitely a learning experience for me because it was like one week 5 tapes, another week 8 tapes, because they both share clients together, and this is one thing that um, about in terms of managements that I learned is that um, when you're ready for a manager, you want to make sure that the management and the agent both um, have a great working relationship. It's so imperative. It's so important. Um, and he did, which was great. Got some pins. Had booked another guest star on the great show FBI. Um, going into 2023, and then the strike. Silence, 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 silence. And this the second management team, um, and it, because of the lack of work, I guess, you know, off record, they just had to make cuts in terms of their clientele, and I was a part of that clientele, despite their belief and joy of working with me. They did voice that they are so thankful for everything that I put forward on the table. This is hard for us to do, but we have to do, make cuts because of because of the demand of advocating for the clients who are working, in the sense of like the Hollywood stars that they have on their rosters, or people who are well established in their career, where they're probably not auditioning as much. I mean, at that time, because now Oscar winners are auditioning again. You know what I mean? It's so bizarre. You know what I mean? And that decision from my last management team was last fall. This was right before the auditions for, yeah, yeah. This was right before the auditions for Dexter and for Will Trent and for an indie project that I just got done taping right before wrapping on Dexter, that comes out later on this fall, which is called Subliminal. It's an anthology series like Twilight Zone and Black Mirror, and it's going to be on an indie network called Nebula, which I'm excited about. But it was just like, whoa, you know, because at that moment, it was a really low moment. Like nobody wants to be quote unquote dropped from a rap. Um, like, of course, I was very understanding, but I was just like, dang, just like, give me one chance, like when you hear about like the ghost, like Viola Davis being the same management from day one, you know, that's something that I'm pretty sure like any artist would dream of having uh, during the course of their career. Um, and literally at that moment, my agents, they reached out to me and it was like, Darius, we just wanted to reach out and say that we heard about the recent news regarding XYZ, and just wanted to let you know that we're here for you. We got you back. We believe in you. Take the time to just breathe, be at peace this weekend. We'll reconvene next week and keep pushing upward and forward, which is exactly what we did. Exactly what we did. Um, and now, and at that time, I just had my agents, and I recently just tagged on a new management, um, who have a great rapport together again. But this time, it I wasn't like in a rush to tag on a management. This management team actually saw my performance on Will Trent and reached out to my agents on my behalf. And truthfully, that's the if it happens that way, you know what I mean? You already know that's the best way to tag on a partnership.
Well, because then they're hungry, right? And they're hungry to work with you and to work for you. It's one thing to be pursued, it's another thing to pursue. And to be clear, like they both work. Like there are people who like they pursue and they find their reps and it works out great. Um, but whenever somebody comes and they discover you, they find you, they reach out to you, that's the best because then there's actually a little pressure on them. Because it's like, from your perspective, I imagine a bit of it's like, okay, cool. So what are you adding?
Yeah.
Because you have your great team. It sounds like you have a dream team with your agents, the way that they handled that whole situation. Uh, and so for some other net managers to come knocking, it's like, okay, we're pie over here. How are you going to contribute and add value? That's a good pressure you want your reps to have.
Come on, quote unquote, good pressure. That's what we strive for, brother. That's what we strive for. Absolutely.
It sounds like you've been making a lot of strides in the film and TV realm, but I do want to tap on your theater bag for a minute. We met. I was a reader for a production of Choir Boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Where are they doing it? Denver?
Yeah, yeah, ART. No. Sorry. Denver Center. It was the
Yeah.
Denver Center. Yeah, yeah.
And I tend to be a reader for a lot of musicals because I don't do musicals. So it's like there's no pressure. I don't feel like I'm competing with the people who are auditioning. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm.
I can just read and be in support of everyone else. And I remember meeting you then, kind of following you since, and then what was it like the next years when you booked Ain't Too Proud, I think, or
Yeah, that's why I couldn't do it. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's why I couldn't do it. I was like, "Dang, I love Choir Boy," and that was, like, around the time when I was, like I had just got done doing fences at Delaware Rep playing Corey, and I just wanted to do more plays, you know what I mean, in terms of just, like, diving into text, you know? Love musical theater, don't get me wrong, but I just wanna dive into just, like, crunching on words, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
But
yeah,
Broadway,
that's crazy. That's
but but Broadway called, and you answer. You said, "Hello, yes, I'm there. It's me. I'm there."
It's me. It's me, baby. It's me.
Would you consider theater your foundation as an actor?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. That's where I built character, brother. I mean, theater saved me. I was a football player back in the day. I don't know if you knew this, but I was a football player back in the day. And I had an injury where I had to get screws in both hips. Um, and it's it's crazy how I could even do jazz splits. I just thank God for everything. You know what I mean? I'm just like, okay. I was 14 at the time and I got accepted. I was 14 and I got accepted into the varsity team right before my freshman year. And then that's when the injury took place. And the doctors at the time, when they did an x-ray on me, when I was complaining about this pain, they were like, oh, you have slip epiphysis. And we could either do screws in both hips or a whole hip replacement. And my parents were like, he's not doing no whole hip replacement at 14. So I had to get homeschooled for the first couple months of my freshman year. Once I was, once it was deemed safe for me to go into school on a wheelchair and crutches, that's when I got introduced into theater. My student counselor at the time was like, you don't have an art requirement. What would you like to do? And I grew up in a church. My grandfather was my pastor. Um, and I was like, show choir. He was like, all right, you can do show choir, but how about you also try musical theater? Because you will need another one next year. But this elective could basically transition into the same elective that you use in sophomore year. So that way, come your senior year, you're all good on year requirements. And I was like, I didn't really know what it was. So tried it out, found the community there, found uh, myself in the sense of like I can just be, you know what I mean? I'll have to put on this like, like tough. Yeah, I'm up this. Like, I'm an athlete. I'm a jug. I'm an athlete. I'm a left tackle. What? What's wrong with it? No, I could just be me and um enjoy this medium of love, of power through storytelling. So theater, absolutely. To answer that question, plain and simple, is my foundation. Um, and I'm always going to be thankful for theater. You know what I mean? Always. I was itching to like get theater going too. On it, like we see Tom Hanks about to be off Broadway.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Listen, De Niro was just on Broadway this past season.
Denzel,
Yeah. Yeah.
Liv Schreiber, just what's the name of that off Broadway play? But Liv was just in the off Broadway play. Everybody. I love seeing that. You know what I mean? I know there's some people who complain about seeing like Hollywood stars, or just big, established artists in their careers coming to Broadway. Like, why y'all here? You know what I mean? What you doing over here? What you doing over here? And the thing is that, listen, they've worked hard just like we're working hard now, you know?
To be fair, I'm sure a lot of them, as you said, like that was their foundation.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
you're popping off on TV right now, but if you get a call, let's not talk hypotheticals. Literally, you just had two big spots on television this year, and you're currently out doing a play in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're on contract now. For the people who are watching YouTube, you can see Darius. This is not his house.
We're at the Marriott, baby.
Okay, I was like, he's in a hotel room because he's out of town on a contract doing theater. Now speaking of which, how is that transition for you, going from these television projects to theater? And you could tackle it two ways, both, whatever. So on one hand, the technical switch between mediums, but the other hand that I'm curious about is like the professional switch. And what I mean by that is like the prestige that comes along with television right now, right? Some I guess most people would say we're no longer in peak TV, which is true, but there's still a level of prestige to it. And you get that contract and you see that money that's hitting that bank account off
Mm,
of these TV spots.
mm,
How is it then going to do Hairspray?
mm,
You feel what I'm saying? Like, how
mhm.
do you, or is that even a consideration? Or are you just like, no, I just love to do work?
Great question, brother. I mean, the prep may be different, but it all comes back to the same home ground. You know what I mean? Like with a play, with a musical, you get a script, you better read that bad boy. You better read that bad boy. There's no music out? All right, let's see who the composers are. Listen, listen to how they write music. Listen to how they compose music for that sound. So that way, when you go into the room and they ask you for a song from your book, you know how to choose material that's going to allow them to know, oh, okay, she, they're for the vision. I can definitely see myself working and directing this beautiful artist in front of me. TV and film. You got to be prepared before you go on that set. Got to be prepared before you go on that set. I mean, the thing what I love about theater, it's live. You know what I mean? You, even if there's a hiccup, they can know. There's the only way that they will know if you messed up is if you tell them. You know what I mean? On set, you got some takes, but listen, it ain't limitless, right? And you know what I mean? If you messing up on three, three, 4 takes, you know, the director may come up to you and be like, "Hey, everything all right? You good? We was out all night until 2 a.m. in the morning. What's going on? You okay? Get your rest. Treat yourself good. Grace and prep. That's the main factor alone. You know what I mean? You get all your elements in order and factor it in. So that way, when you get on set, those nervous jitterbugs become your best friend. Same with theater. Same with theater. Um, and something that I learned in both over the course of my career, brother. I've learned in both worlds. Don't be apologetic. Don't be apologetic. You know what I mean? Um, because then you're releasing your own power. You know, take ownership of that. Like, get it together. Only you know what's going on inside of you. You know what I mean? Only you know what's going on inside of you. Um, and one thing, I mean, I also love. I mean, I know you do too. I love Sterling K. Brown, and he also said like, I don't believe in saying sorry. Especially like in an audition room. Like if I mess up, I'm just gonna excuse me. I'm gonna start from the top again. Thank you. Because then that tells them that you know how to overcome an obstacle that's in front of you. It's truthfully, I mean, even as I'm doing Hair the Musical right now, you know, I came to rehearsal already knowing the songs that I have that my character has to know and sing. At least be familiarized with it enough before we start working it in the space. Um, Go over the soundtrack again just to get that familiarity, just to familiarize myself again with it, and we're in the space that's just fun. You know what I mean? That's when it doesn't feel like work. Same as with on set. They give you they give you the scene. Okay, they give you the scene for that you're going to shoot, but also, hey, they also gave you the whole episode the script. Read that as well. You know what I mean? See like the pacing between lines. Know the world that you're about to live in, that your character's about to live in. Who are they? Where? I mean, for the audition aspect, you should know where you are, so that way it reads on camera. That's something that I learned over the course too. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you're in a restaurant, uh, you know, it may be a little loud, but the thing is that you add a booth so that that dialogue is it's probably a little bit more intimate. Whereas if you're in a club and you're at a bar, you go, "Hey, what's going on? What you doing over here? What you want to drink? Hmm?
Yeah,
What you want? Let me get that. Hey, give him another. You know, it's a different,
no, that environment. Yeah,
another environment.
plays.
Um, So I guess to answer that question, in full, um, it's just the prep. It's the prep. It's always going to come down to that prep, bro. Seriously, because if that preparation is not right, that train's going to take off way before you even. It's exactly.
Now, preparation, that's something that I'm also a big proponent of. I just posted a whole thing on the show's Instagram page about a final callback I was in last week, and the director thanked me for my preparation.
Come on,
And
yeah.
and that just stood out
That's
to
a
me because
win
it's like,
itself. That's a win itself.
because bro, there's so much outside of our control. You can't control if like, oh, it's supposed to be an exterior and it's raining now, or you guys are losing light for the day, or somebody, pickup didn't happen on time. Like none of that stuff's in your control, but like the stuff that is within your control absolutely makes a difference, and you can see it in your performance. The last thing I want to ask you about is right before we started recording, you let me know that you're currently in school getting a master's degree, which I didn't know, and like, why would I have known? But you're recurring on Dexter, which is like number 3 on like IMDb right now in terms of popularity. Like it's one of the most popular shows in the world right now. You got your guest spot on Will Trent. You just added a new manager to the team. You're currently doing a play. You got an indie film coming out later this year. Why are you in school? Sounds like the career's going great.
One of my big brothers from Ain't Too Proud. Shout out to Nick Walker. He he was Otis Williams and Ain't Too Proud. So I had the blessing of playing Lamont. So I was his son in the show. And as we're rehearsing in 2021, like getting Broadway back on his feet, he was like, "All right, y'all, I gotta go teach." In the back of my mind, I'm thinking you about to go do a workshop or a work seminar? He's like, "No, I'm actually about to go teach a scene analysis class at NYU." And I'm like, "Oh, and then you're gonna go do the shop?"
And you on Broadway tonight?
It blew my mind. And the thing is that I love inspired artists. You know what I mean? Like I love inspired artists who are like well aware that they want to do this, even if they don't have like a map plan sketched out. This is where they want to be. And on top of acting and performing, I want to be able to do that alone too, to say like, yes, you can. Because some of the programs from when we were in undergrad, there was just a lot of misconceptions being put out into the universe. Like if you're in the show and your sister's getting married, you can't go to your sister's wedding.
Literally happened to me.
You get what I'm saying? Or like, you and I can't be in West Side Story because of our ethnicity, which is bogus. Because if you do your research, there were actually gangs that was interracial in terms of being mixed, who were in battle with the Puerto Ricans in that area at the time during that melting pot. It wasn't just white against Puerto Ricans. You know what I mean? And I just want to be an advocate of changing that false narrative. And yeah, so I've been building syllabi for myself with this. It's theater studies at Marquette State University, 2-year program. So literally, while shooting Will Trent, while shooting Dexter, all the Dexter, I was in school.
Wow.
And shout out to both for like, shout out to my school too for just being so warm and like, Darius, we got you. You can just get your papers in at this time. We'll do your final presentation this day. Like so flexible because they know where I want to be in terms of prosperity. You know what I mean? Of course, I want to continuously act and perform and tell stories. Like that's the core of like what I want to do. But in between jobs, if I can continuously use my artistry somewhere, I want to put it into the younger us. You know what I mean? And in the new year, I built a couple syllabi to have in my pocket, so that way it's with me wherever I could, if I could teach at NYU, so be it Brooklyn College, Carnegie Mellon, Kane, Rutgers, Yale, on top of the grind. You know, like there's so many people on Broadway who teach like one course at Yale, and you wouldn't even know it. Or who's recording on the show and you wouldn't even know it. And in the new year, I'll be teaching acting for the camera for the BA Theater Studies, which the BA Studies at Marklet State has never had before. So it'll be a blessing. It'll be a blessing for those students alone to have that information. Hopefully it could bleed into the musical theater curriculum, you know, because there's so many mediums that is out there for us that we should all be aware of. There shouldn't be any limitations as to this is the only street for you. This is the only street you can drive on. This is the only avenue you can walk on. Forget that. And that's what I'm here to do.
Boom, man. What a note to end on. I mean, it's just so like, it's not only inspiring, but it's humbling, you know, and hopefully it's humbling for the people listening to know that like artists who are at the top of their game, it's so easy for us to judge and to look at people who are doing other things, as you said, between contracts, and somehow equate that with their level of success when it's like, sometimes some people just want to, like you said, you want to continue using your artistry, you know, even for the biggest stars in Hollywood, they're not working every day. So what do you do? You know,
brother, during, I know we don't get that much time, but like when the pandemic, so 2020, get my first guest star, which was on Power. And then boom, the phone call for Ain't You Proud. This is beginning of 2020. Broadway debut, March 10th. First 2-show day, March 11th. March 12th of 2020, shut down. This is when I had to learn about unemployment. And the unemployment for me at the time wasn't that much because I was only with the company for only 2 months and a half. I became a UPS driver. I was a UPS driver for almost a year before things started to pick back up. Had did another guest appearance on a show called Modern Love, and UPS like worked that out with me, especially after they knew who I was. They were just like, "So Darius, you thinking about management?" Because the training process for it.
You're like, this guy's good at delivering packages.
He's good at delivering packages. He can memorize like protocols and regulations like no other. This guy got to be a manager here? And I'm like, listen, I just want to drive. You know, I enjoy my time here, and you know when things pick back up, you know, we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? And I don't knock any work, bro. I don't knock any work. You know, we got to do what we got to do to do the things that we want to do.
We got to do to do the things we want to do.
You know what I mean?
And you put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, brother. I could text you. I'll text you a photo of me in the UPS gear too. If you laugh.
Darius, man, I genuinely can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming onto the show today. You are one of the most humble and grateful actors that I know. And
as are you, King. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate
that means everything, man. I really appreciate you.
You deserve everything that's happening for you right now. Congratulations on the wedding. Congratulations on Dexter. Congratulations on Hair. I wish you nothing but the best, man.
Same here, King. Always praying for you, brother. Come on. We in this together.
Appreciate you. Alrighty, folks. If you enjoyed this conversation with Darius, then you'll love a recent interview I did with Chichi Anyawu, talent manager. So be sure to check that out. Thank you so much for tapping into this episode of The Actor's Instrument. Shout out to our co-producers and distributors over at Next Chapter Podcasts. Before you go, make sure to like this episode, give us a follow or subscribe wherever you're tuning in, and we'll be back next Tuesday. Till next time, y'all. Peace.